before the 20-minute time limit. Please make sure that you're unmuted and you may begin your share now.
Hi guys, my name is Gene. I'm a compulsive overeater, and I live in San Diego. I've been in a program for 7.5 years, and it's been an amazing journey. I have been abstinent for 7.5 years. After some initial weight loss, I've maintained plus or minus 5 pounds for 7 years, so that's pretty amazing for me. And let's see, how it was is that I grew up in a family where my mom was not happy where I ate the first plate. She was not happy when I ate the second plate. She began to feel like a good mama when I ate the third plate. And so, I still clean my plates. It's just the plates have gotten smaller. Anyway, so I came into OA and was married for 14 years at the time, still married, and had a house, a couple dogs, and a good job and nice old house, and I was just miserable. And I would eat 6 meals a day. I just had a black hole in me that would suck amazing amounts of food in. I would eat burgers and burritos for snacks. And I'm a fat and grease guy, so your sugar doesn't do much for me. But fat and grease. Somebody got to mute themselves. And so I used to eat all the time and eat between snacks and eat all day. I'm a type 2 diabetic, and so type 2 meaning I developed this, and I was not born like this. And my doctor told me 20 years ago, hey, Gene, you lose some weight and, the diabetes will go away. And, I used to ask him all the time. We went to high school together, believe it or not. And I used to ask him all the time, how come I'm hungry right after I eat? And, he was clueless. He wanted to help me, but he was just clueless. And he would give me the usual blah, blah, blah. And then my wife, so my favorite activity is isolation. I just want to isolate and be left alone with my dogs, my pornography, my television, and internet. And for a couple of years, I was actually addicted to video games, where I pretty much ignored my wife and would spend 5 to 8 hours a day playing video games. But my primary addiction is definitely food. And basically, I just had 2 feelings that I was aware of. I was either stuffed or I wanted to eat. Now, if I was engaged in some creative working activity where I was working and I was motivated and all that, I don't think about food. But anytime I'm not actively doing something else, I think about food. My days used to be structured running around town. I had to do things sometimes in different parts of town. It was all about what am I going to get where I go in this part of town and that part of town. Huge problem eating out. My wife would cook me beautiful food with organic, and she's a good cook, with organic ingredients, and I'd be pissed at her because I wanted to go out and get my fix, whatever that meant that night. But the truth is, I kind of wanted everything. We'd be driving to get Mexican food, and I'd say, hey, do you want to get Chinese? Or do you want to get Italian? She's a normie. For her, it's like asking her, do you want to get gas at this station or do you want to get gas at that station? It's just fuel. So she'd say, wherever you like. But I used to drive her nuts with that. So I was just miserable. And, I pretty much learned in these rooms that there's 4 things that were primarily driving me in everything I did. And the 4 things were fear, pride, self-pity, and ego. Sorry, I messed that up. One of them is greed. I'll come back to that. So, guess I'm not perfect yet. So, so I came to Overeaters Anonymous. My first meeting was abstinence meeting. I didn't know what that meant. I just got this message, it was pretty, I'll be surprised if there was a man there. It was much older women, big meeting, like 30 women and me. And I remember them saying, it was an abstinence meeting, and I remember several women saying that they came into the program, they did the steps, they did what they were told, they got a sponsor and, worked the program, whatever that meant. And then their life got better. Their health got better, their work got better, their food got better, and then they graduated, as they said, and they left the program, and then everything went to shit. And I was like, what are they talking about? I'm just here to lose weight. Honestly, I wanted to continue to eat like I was eating, but find some kind of a magic button where I could continue to eat like I was eating without giving anything up. And I wanted to learn it like a college course. I wanted to get in. I was pretty good at school, and get in, learn it, get my BO better, and get the hell out. And so I came into the program, and then these women in this meeting said, they worked the program and everything got good. And then they left the program after some time, and everything went to shit. And sometimes they stayed away for a while. Sometimes they came back, and then everything got good. And I heard this cycle, and I thought, well, there's something to this, that they work this program and things get better, and then they leave and everything goes to shit, and they come back and everything works better again, like their marriage, their relationships. So I was like, there's something to this. So I left that meeting, and now I realized, by the way, I didn't have a higher power. When I came into the program, I was pretty much against any kind of religious talk or spiritual talk or anything like that. I'm an engineer by trade, and if you can't prove it to me mathematically, then it doesn't exist. So, I just basically followed instructions. This lady said to get a temporary sponsor. You don't have to commit, but get somebody that makes sense to you. I met my sponsor at the men's meeting that happens every Sunday in San Diego. I attended it this morning with some gentlemen on this call, and that's my home meeting for 7.5 years now. And I came to the meeting, found my sponsor. He's still my sponsor, and he started giving some instructions, and I was willing to follow it. And I believe so. We did the workbook over Readers Anonymous. There's a new edition. It's like purplish color. Old one was like chocolate color, and chocolate apparently is a color. And so I was, I would read the step in 12 and 12 Readers Anonymous, and then I would write down what I write down in the 12 steps as my answer, and then I called my sponsor, and then I would read to him about my answer, and he would read back his answer, or he would tell me his answer. And I got to know him, and he got to know me, and I've never had an intimate relationship with men like this. My dad, my grandparent, they never had any feelings. They never did anything wrong. They never showed me that making mistakes is a way to learn. So they were good people, but they just didn't give me some basics. And I grew up in Overeaters Anonymous in the men's meetings where I heard guys own their shit, talk about what they're fearful of, and, talk about things that I never thought I would hear. And, after a while, my sponsor said I should sponsor folks, and I started sponsoring men. And that's been tremendously important in my recovery, because I do think about having that third taco and realize that I don't want to lose my abstinence, and I want to stay a sponsor because of what I get out of it. So it goes both ways. Sponsored, dozens of guys so far, but the only ones that have kept their abstinence long term are the ones that finished the 12 steps with me. So that's something. There's a handful of those guys that have finished the 12 steps. And so I just realized that when I started working the steps that I had a lot of resentments, a lot of self-pity. My ego was out of control. I was my own center, like I was my own higher power. And, it wasn't really working for me. I was not happy at all. So then my sponsor working the steps showed me that I did have higher power. It has nothing to do with organized religion or wars or everything negative, like planes crashing or anything like that. I have a higher power, and my higher power just totally kicks ass on my behalf. I've been lucky all my life where others did stuff I did and they paid dearly for it, but I didn't. Stuff like, driven drunk when I was younger a bunch of times, never got a DUI. Did some drugs when I was younger, didn't never get arrested, or never ended up in juvie or in prison or with a sentence that would limit my career choices. Got education, got both parents, got grandparents, was born in Moscow in Russia and grew up in San Diego. So it's like amazing places, and just right place, right color, right everything, just nothing but opportunities in my life. And I never saw it that way. I was greedy for more money, more love. And greed doesn't have to do with money. Greed has to do with getting more than my share. And that's in everything. I want to receive more love than I'm willing to give. I want to receive better friendships than I'm willing to give. I don't want to compromise. I just want to take. And that used to be the way I operated. Surprise, surprise. I wasn't happy with life. Gratitude was never really discussed in my family, so I learned that from you guys. I remember calling my sponsor when I was suffering, and he said, "Why don't you write down a gratitude list and then call me and read it off?" I said, "A gratitude list? What's that?" So he said, things you're grateful for. I wasn't grateful for anything. So he showed me how to do business with my higher power, and we did the steps together, and I started sponsoring guys, and I started doing service. And my whole thing in this program is action. It's action that keeps me abstinent for 7.5 years. I sprinkle this program throughout my day. The saddest part for me was finding out that not only do I have a terminal disease of type 2 diabetes, but I also have a terminal disease of overeating. And I have to live with this disease. And so, I realized I got to sprinkle it throughout my day. So I text pictures of what I eat to my sponsor. Guys, my sponsees text me pictures of what they eat and their plans. As my sponsor says, if you want to have an easy time in this program, plan your food and eat your plan. Yes, that means planning what you're going to eat tomorrow. When I wake up in the morning, I don't know. Sometimes I'm all sorts of screwed up. So it's better to plan your food the day before. And so be honest about what I eat. And I sprinkle this program throughout my day. Action, action, action. My feelings don't really matter. Today I feel this way. Tomorrow I'll feel differently about exactly the same thing. So I'm all over the place. And what's important is that I text and call guys every day. I do that. I text and call 4 or 5 guys. Check in with my sponsor. I cover steps with my sponsees throughout the week. Some of them are scheduled. Some of them just call me up randomly and say, "Hey, here's a question." And they, excuse me, dogs. And so, I keep in touch with sponsees. I'm secretary. I'm a Region 2 vice chair. I just know I have to be tied to this program. And today one of you asked me to be a speaker here, and I'm like, all these years I've been wanting to come to this meeting, but since I do 1.5 hours in the morning with my group of guys, I just, didn't want to invest another 1.5 hours in this meeting, but this was perfect opportunity, and so I'm doing service with you guys, and I see a lot of familiar faces. I organize, for the last few years, I organized OA Men's Retreat. We're having a 32nd or 33rd in October, last weekend in October, here in San Diego. And Dave B and I organized that for the guys. We usually have around 30 guys. So I just know that service keeps me sane in this program. So a lot of action. And, if there's anything you take away from this is like, what am I willing to do today? Not like, oh, I'll get better, I'll go to meetings, or I'll do this, or I'll go shopping. And that's a whole bunch of bullshit to me. It's like, what are you doing today? That's all we got. You might not wake up tomorrow. What are you willing to do today? That's what I ask my sponsees. That's what they text me. I'm willing to X, Y, Z. We have wonderful tools we just reviewed in the beginning of this meeting. And that's what it's about. What are you willing to do today? Especially what are you willing to do for another guy in this program? Are you willing to text him or call him? And people think like you have to call with something amazing. I call guys all the time and say, I'm having a shitty day. I'm having bad attitude. I'm hungry. And, I don't want to do anything. What are you doing? And they seem to like that kind of call. I don't have to call with rainbows and sunshine all the time and just check in with them. So I really gotten to know men well in this program, realize I'm just another bozo on a bus. We're all scared and all in the same boat with our fears, with our greed, our ego, our pride, stopping us from living our best life. And my timer says I have 5 minutes left. Might be.
That's correct. You have 5 minutes left. Huh?
So for me, it's action, action, action. Do something in this damn program. I got guys calling me all the time, telling me how their food is terrible, and they're pissed off, or they have resentments, and work is hard, and this is hard. And I just ask them sometimes simple question like, "So, what'd you do for recovery today, other than call me?" And thank you for calling. That's one of our tools. So thank you for calling me. What'd you do for recovery lately? Nothing. I'm like, okay, what are you willing to do today, other than call me? Back to action. It's what kept me and all the guys I know in this program that have been abstinent for a long period of time, whatever your definition of a long time is guys who do a lot of action. And we have a few newcomers. I heard them in this meeting. I sponsor guys that are exercise bulimics. They'll overeat and then try to exercise and sweat it out. I sponsor guys who just don't eat enough, so they'll throw up. Sponsor all sorts of guys, normal size, overweight, underweight. I got guys who are trying to gain weight and they just can't. Body dysmorphia. This is a pretty wide disease as far as the way it affects us, and body images and all that. So it's been a very interesting ride. I welcome anybody's calls and texts to me, from mostly guys, although a few women as well over the years. And it's been an amazing journey. My fear of financial insecurity has pretty much gone. I'm out between jobs right now. I'm having the best time. It's been 4 months. I'm just enjoying doing service and just liking myself. I've learned to love myself in this program. I'm able to meditate for a few minutes, connect with my higher power, and ask him, what is the next indicated step? Literally, what should I do next? Should I walk the dog? Maybe I need to vacuum the house. Maybe I should go, whatever, call one of you. Like, I just ask, what is the next indicated step? Just like, I'm not in charge anymore. So much easier this way. I went to Al-Anon program for a year because my sponsor said the only people that knocked me out of serenity seemed to be my family. We're a bunch of compulsive overeaters. And so I went to Al-Anon and learned to mind my own damn business. Oh my God, everything used to be my business. Now, I don't have to worry about that shit, I got enough to take care of myself. And my sponsor has taught me that I never have to apologize for something that I don't say. And, the spiritual connection and the physical attribute of this program of not being stuffed and miserable, hating myself, and the emotional connection by realizing I'm just another bozo on a bus like all of you, and I have feelings, and that's okay. And feelings don't kill you, it's my actions that are killing me. So all this knowledge that I've gained, really grew up in the program. And my wife has said that, I'm a different guy now, which is great. I know I've done step 9 and, told her all the things that are, I'm sorry for doing to her. We've been together for 22 years and our relationship is better than ever. Well, maybe not as good as the first couple of weeks. That was pretty hot and heavy, but still pretty better than ever, considering that was a few weeks out of 21 years. So, I really think that if we're able to plan our food and eat our plan and do the steps and do action and show up for each other and do service, then we can be happy and loving and thrive in life. And, once you get to that place, everybody wants to be friends with you all of a sudden. When I was miserable, pissed off prick, surprisingly, people didn't want to hang out with me too much. So, it's a simple program. It's not complicated. It's just a lot of action. So for newcomers, if you want to get started, give me a call. Until I get a job, I'm available and willing. Once I get a job, I have a handful of sponsees, so might have to pass you on to somebody else. But I'm coming up on the end of my time. And again, guys, thank you very much for the opportunity to see a bunch of other guys. And I'm probably going to split before this meeting ends, but that's just because, my wife might want a little piece of me on this Sunday. So anyway, thank you very much, and have a great night.
Thank you.